Hey everybody, Giselle Grenier here from artplace.ca. In today's video lesson, we're going to take this Book of Backgrounds page, and I'm going to show you a really simple technique that you can just basically create a photo frame out of this. And it's going to be a mixed media piece, and I've got some stuff already pulled out. I've got scraps of music paper. I've got this that Joe found for me, these little sentiments, chipboard Dragonfly, and this is an old photo. This is from packaging, so I'm going to use that. And to kind of put everything together, I'm going to be using Decor Media Fluid Acrylics in Titanium White, Quinacridone Magenta, Interference Magenta, the Wax Metallic, this is Fab Fuchsia, and I've got the Decoupage Matte Finish, and also have some of that into a little bottle. And some gesso and some crackle paint. So there is going to be some drying time with this. So before we do anything, let's just prepare the pieces, because this is what's going to take the longest to do. Now these are Christmas sentiments. Just picked these up at Michael's, $1.50. These were also picked up at Michael's. Little die cuts. So you can use whatever you want. And the sentiment I'm going to use is Journey. So what I want to do first is prep these with a little bit of gesso. And I'm going to use a small brush for this. All right. So that's what I'm thinking about doing, but I want to create a frame with the music paper, and some pieces I want underneath. And I'm going to get that started, because what if I glue this down, then I can't put some pieces underneath. So I'm just going to get that little dry fit going on here. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so let's just position this. And what we can do, let me try this one. I don't think that's gonna, yep. So all I want to do is just create a rough outline, and I'm just using a Staedtler 7B. The graphite, this is a graphite carbon pencil, and it's not going to show through because there'll be paper on top of it. Okay, so just a rough outline like that, except this one's, there we go. All right. And whoops. This will make it a little bit darker too when you get it wet. Just going to glue the music paper down. Nothing fancy. It can overlap. I want to get the actual border set up first. And what I got about this particular music paper is that it's translucent, and this is from the decoupage paper line from DecoArt. It's Victorian Romance, and the sheet a big large sheet like this. I'm going to use Decor Media Fluid Acrylics, Quinacridone Magenta. We're going to paint both of these. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit of titanium white to it just to lighten it a bit. Going to be putting a little bit of a crackle on top. And we can do the sides. If you find these already made up and painted, that's fine. You want to just use paper, print it from your computer, that's fine too. You just need to color it whatever way you want and just glue it. Same thing with the Dragonfly. This is a very quick and easy little project to work with a background. I was originally going to cut it up and to create postcards out of it, but I thought, nah, this is actually kind of cute. Okay, put that aside. Alright, so that can set to dry. And now for this, we're going to color this. And I'm going to use, I brought these two out. It's Decor Metallic Luster. It's the wax metallic finish. I'm going to be using Black Shimmer and Champagne Ice. And I'm just going to take a little bit of both of those, and what I'm doing, I'm just knocking down the black a little bit so it's not so bright, and then we're going to add water. We're going to put it on like a paint so it's almost marbled. And yes, I could have used metallic paint for this, but I wanted it to be very translucent. I can even bring a little bit out on the side here if I need to. And then very quickly take a cloth and wipe the excess. And this is going to burnish it into the paper and into the background, and it becomes permanent and extremely shiny. Like that. Okay. Yeah, we didn't need all that. And if you find that you've put a little bit too much on, you can use a little bit of rubbing alcohol and it'll remove some. Not too much though. You don't want it to eat away at the thing, so as long as the music paper can show through. There we go. All right. Dry that. So we're looking at that, and that. That's what we're looking at. Very, very simple. So what we need to do now is I'm going to put on the crackle paint, the white, on these. Very, very light. Light. You don't want to overwork this. Now, I've never done crackle this small before, so it'll be interesting what's going to happen. With a smaller brush. Okay, well, something went terribly wrong, and I'm looking to think that the animals got to this. So I don't know. So I'm gonna scrap that. I did another one, but I didn't use the crackle paint this time. I just painted it the fuchsia, and I'm going to use just the interference and the metallic, and I'm going to paint this part black. So I'm going to leave that. I changed my mind about the sentiments. I'm going to use a piece of burlap. I'm going to cut that down, and I'm going to stencil this on there. So I'm going to stencil it first, because then I can pull the pieces out, and I'm going to be using a mix of Decor So Soft fabric paint so it stays soft, burnt sienna, and lamp black. And I'm thinking the culprit with this little one, she's right here on my table watching. So I added burnt sienna to the black just to soften it up a bit so it wasn't so harsh. Okay. And just going to use a little stencil brush. And we'll see how this works. I've never stenciled on a burlap of this weave before. I was tempted to go with the Americana, the chalky finish, which would work just fine, but I wanted to try this So Soft paint on this type of fabric. It's just a cotton ribbon. You can use burlap if you want, anything with a tight weave. Oh, wow. Okay, I couldn't have gotten a more perfect stencil. Wow. Okay, so I'm just gonna, clean's really easy too. Alrighty. So that's that. And I'm going to let that dry. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to actually cut it. I can cut it now. Cut it close to here. And then I'm going to start pulling some of the fabric like this, which will make a nice little frayed edge. Good thing is that you can follow the lines of the grain. And that one I won't even have to cut straight. I'll just do this. Just making sure I don't touch the stencil area because it's not dry yet. This I can heat set or speed up the drying time with my heat gun. And that's what I'm thinking about doing, something like that. It's still a little big, so I'm going to cut it down just a little bit more. And then what I can do is I can use something the hairdresser does on my hair, and I can just cut these down really fine. This one's actually pretty good. This one's too long. Okay, and you can cut it, you can do this, and you can also just do this, just to make it tighter. It's up to you if you want them all even or if you want them uneven. Doesn't really matter. Like that. There, that's even better than what I was originally planning. Yay! Okay, so an accident that turned out to be okay. Now what I can do, see how you've got the color here? If you put white behind, it has a completely different look to it. So which would you prefer? Would you prefer it being bright like this, or would you prefer it being like this? Well, let's take a look. So let's just cut. This is just Terra Skin. This is paper made from stone. So you just kind of decide, do you want it to be like that, or do you want it to be like that? Personally, I like that better. But you're free to do whatever you want. We didn't need all this paint either. Okay. And let me get some black. You can use Fluid Acrylics, the black here. Just a spot. And I'm just going to paint the body black, because we're going to be putting metallics on top of this, which will cover most of it up. This is a simple little design, just depends on how far you want to go with it and whether or not something goes wrong. You'll probably start hearing Chaos snore now, because she's fast asleep. I'm going to go get a bigger brush. There we go. And around the ends, the wings I'm going to leave pink, like that. Okay. Let's put this together. So I'm going to say I'll use the decoupage mat that's in here, and let's edge it. can use rusty hinge with a little cosmetic sponge. And how I got that deckled edge is I just used my Westcott ruler and then I tore the paper. This gives a nice little glow. Keeping in mind that the distress inks are water soluble, so if you get this wet, it's going to come off. What I would do is probably put a spray fixative on there, and I can give this bit more of a glow just by going over a little bit like that. See how it makes that really nice and rich? Like that. Then I can take a cloth. We'll dry that, and I can even remove just a little bit with a damp cloth. There we go. Oh, right about there. So that'll be kind of cute there. Be great for a little girl's room or something. Dragonflies have shiny wings. There we go. We'll just wipe a little bit of that off. It's a bit too much. There we go. And we'll buff it. And buffing makes it permanent. I also have my glue gun warming up. And then we'll put that there. And we'll put that there. That's adorable. So the black ties into the black of the dragonfly and some of the black in here. The only thing that really stands out is the pink here. So, you know, what can we do to enhance that a bit? You can tie in a little bit of this pink into the frame if you want. Just on the edges. Nothing too strong, but just ties it in a little bit. So we've got a little bit of pink in here. Keep it light. If you want to get fancy, you could also paint a hat. And you're going to have a little bit of pink in there. So it just ties everything together. Okay, are you ready yet? So I'll just use and we'll do it like this. Just like that. I'm doing this on my unstick craft sheet so I won't burn the table. There we go. Here we are. Really, really simple little design. That's it. So you can just take any photograph and put it in there and ready to go. So now I also have that on the back side, but I've got all this stuff on here. So this will actually work well in a journal page. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with this one, but I'll have to do some finagling on that. Alrighty. So I hope that you enjoyed this very simple little design, and I would love to see pictures of what you create based on the idea. Feel free to email it to me or share it in my private Facebook group. Links to both of those are found on my website at artplace.ca. So give me a comment below what you thought of the project and what kind of photograph you might find for a piece like this. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, that way you don't miss anything, and give me a thumbs up if you like these types of videos so I know to do more. Alrighty, so I'm going to clean up and get ready for my next project. And until I see you in my next video, stay inspired.